where he showed a photograph of the gifted cake that he received from Gucci, which clearly showcased his date of birth. It was with that information alone, FBI agents were able to track him to a visa application, which then led to his true identity and a much clearer look into his personal finances. It quickly became obvious
imagine having a cake be the reason why you in jail for 20 years. Because of a cake, my nigga, that was gifted to you. I told y'all, boy, we were finna make a video on him. You see, this is the Easy Money. Wow. Nate account, man. But still, I told y'all, boy, we were finna make a video on that nigga Hushpuppi. I said Yahoo Boy. I remember him being a Yahoo Boy, and I remember seeing videos of him a while back when I first started my financial literacy journey. So I want to enlighten you niggas and tell y'all how he made his money, how he made them billions to flexing. So if y'all do want to do what he do, which I don't recommend at all, you know, you can do it the right way and not flexing online. Believe it or not, that's the only way the nigga caught. He was flexing all his money, jewelry, cars, private jets online. Same way as the nigga omgnxte, okay, he got caught. Well, make sure to tune into that video too, though. You know what I'm saying? Shit, that video should be going up later on tonight, if not tomorrow. It really depends on when I upload.
A Nigerian Instagram influencer who posted pictures of his lavish lifestyle could spend the next 20 years in a prison cell. Ramon Abbas, aka Hushpuppi, has pleaded guilty to money laundering in a US federal court.
Ramon Abbas, also known as Hushpuppi on social media platforms, was a millionaire Instagram influencer who was successful enough to live in the Versace Hotel in Dubai.
Damn.
He owned Rolls Royces and Bentley vehicles and was known for flaunting his wealth on Instagram by showing his lavish lifestyle while standing outside of his 5-star hotel home. I mean, just imagine living in a 5-star hotel, the Versace Hotel. Most families can't even comfortably afford one night in a place like this, let alone the amount it must cost to become a resident. Ray Hushpuppi was so rich, in fact, designer brands such as Fendi, Versace, and even Gucci sent him birthday cakes as a special thank you for spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on their clothes. Ray was living every man's dream. He was ultra rich. Everyone thought he was successful from developing real estate. He was powerful, and he could pay for just about anything his mind could imagine. But his whole world came crashing down back in 2020 when the Dubai SWAT team raided the Palazzo Versace Hotel. They kicked in his front door as he slept, woke him up, arrested him, and took everything. His cars, clothes, luxury handbags, cash, and a list of potential victim email addresses, all 2 million of them. The previous year, back in 2019, Ray gave a tour of his home in the Palazzo Versace Hotel, showcasing his designer clothes, luxury vehicle collection, and no less than 4 jacuzzis. He described the feeling he had when he started making money, coming from a poor background. He spoke, "My heart is pure. I sleep good at night. When something good happens..."
Scam niggas, he sleep good at niggas scam. He sleep good at night scamming niggas. That's crazy, yo.
I know it's because I did good, not because somebody promised me money that I did not work for or money that I don't deserve. Which is a crazy sentiment coming from someone who literally obtained their wealth through email scams, but more than that.
In this video, I'm going to show you how it's possible to get a $100,000 funded stock trading account.
Ramon Abbas.
These niggas, y'all be assuming that they just billionaires. Look into niggas if y'all gonna pour a lot of time into trying to find research, or like if y'all want to beat them niggas, bro, like look into them niggas. Look into what they really do. Y'all niggas need to find at least 5 streams of income that are visibly like you basically that you can see by watching them. Okay. Say for instance, you see Go DJ Ghost. You want to be next DJ Ghost. Okay, how is he making his money? What cars do he have? What channels do he have? Like, you gotta be right, the nigga, bro. If you want to be like niggas, you know what I'm saying? You can't just want to be like nigga and not want to take over your life, but you shouldn't want to have to be like anybody. You should want to be yourself. But yeah, it's hard for me to explain. I'm gonna just get right into the video.
He was raised in Lagos, Nigeria. His father was a taxi driver, and his mother sold bread in the streets. Growing up poor, Ray dreamed of a better life, and when he grew old enough, he started his own business, reselling designer clothes out of the back of his car. In the early 2000s, cyber cafes began popping up across Nigeria, and many people flocked to them, initially as a form of entertainment, but these cafes quickly became a way to make money, quick money, through crimes, cyber crimes, like fake checks and romance scams. Ray and his team used Yahoo accounts to run their scams, which earned them the name the Yahoo Boys. They would then spend days, weeks, even months, conning them out of cash. Ray essentially formed a scamming dream team and quickly rose to success. But then Nigerian security forces began cracking down on cyber criminals. Any young man at the time with a smartphone became a target, and due to these circumstances, Ray and his team decided to move to Malaysia to get around more sophisticated internet architecture and law enforcement agencies that were less strict on cyber crime. While Ray was there, he strived to be the best, and due to his drive and entrepreneurial spirit, he was able to propel himself from a shack to a penthouse. It was there in Malaysia where Ray became Hushpuppi started to become well known as a very wealthy guy who posted a lavish lifestyle with motivational quotes on how to escape the rat race with hard work, sacrifices, investments, and time.
And you know, you watching this, let's say Vince's around this time, like where that nigga was still popping and blowing up. You watching this, you thinking, damn, I want to be like this nigga. Watching his quotes, listening to it and stuff like that. So you putting in the real legitimate work, and you putting the real legitimate work in while this nigga over here scam. That's why I say, don't compare your lives to other people's lives. Everybody lives differently. Life, and I heard this quote a million times, and I swear to God, I will say it to myself every day if I could. Life is not a race. It's not about who can reach the top the fastest. It's a marathon. It's not about who can get $1 million. It's about who can keep $1 million. You know what I'm saying?
As his profits began to skyrocket, he began splurging on luxury goods, such as a luxurious vehicle fleet, as well as luxury watches and clothing articles. At his peak, over 3 million people were watching him flaunt his custom Rolls Royce and flights on private jets.
Still got love for your mommy. I know you wanna be somebody, even if you gotta leave somebody. Yes, I'm hurting, yes, I'm dirty. Most things I don't wanna say.
Designer brands started gifting him everything from clothes to an all-expense paid trip to the Ritz-Carlton in Paris as a VIP guest of Louis Vuitton. Fendi also invited Ray to come dine with society's elites, and at one event, the Kuala Lumpur branch of Versace hosted him, and fellow Instagrammer Samson Oyokunle presented him with gifts for being the store's best customer. And in one event, Hushpuppi accused rapper Fino of wearing fake watches. This prompted singer Casey to post, "You have no credibility, no known source of income, and yet you come on social media to attack hardworking Nigerian musicians with traceable wealth. What do you do for a living? What is your talent? How do you make your money? What brand do you represent?" Nigeria's Economic and Financial Crimes Commission needs to start paying more attention to detail. Hushpuppi shared every trip, meal, and shopping bag with his dedicated.
But he never shared not one source of income. Same way that nigga, what's called? On Me in the Hill, they get caught the same way. The government wants to, the Uncle Sam hates for you to take the money from his people. Because guess what? He got to pay them niggas back. So he's trying to find a nigga who did it. You know what I'm saying? That's why I say, you doing this social media shit, watch them niggas, bro. If they don't tell you how they making their money, but because YouTube pays for sure. But it don't pay crazy amounts where you can live in these. Nigga, you gotta average at least 100 million views a video for you to live like this. You ain't no Mr. Beast, nigga. You can't, no. And Mr. Beast don't even live in this, so come on now. Nigga, you gotta have a source of income, a real legitimate source of income that can generate millions of dollars, nigga. And we ain't talking about no Shopify store. They can't do this either. Talking about, it's impossible for you to just be flexing this online and become most real estate investors, they don't spend dumb money on this shit. And that's not a real adequate source of income. It's a lot, man. It's not. Basically what I'm saying is what I'm trying to get into is
followers. But of course, he never shared information about how he specifically achieved his success
in an
extravagant lifestyle. When questioned, he would always refer to real estate development, but nobody was buying it. So how was he actually making this?
Because it's not even real.
Email scams and romance scams can be good for a few thousand here, a few thousand there, but Hushpuppi was clearly pulling in millions. But the true source of Hushpuppi's income came from compromised business emails. Like many others, Ray realized that millions weren't going to come from scamming individuals. He had to scam multi-million-dollar companies. Scams that are so lucrative, they account for over 40% of funds that are stolen through fraud, right? Which cost governments about $1.8 billion.
Uncle Sam like when you
Despite this, we don't hear about these scams in the news very often. Now do we? And usually this is because it is incredibly embarrassing for the companies that are involved. A typical BEC scam involves hacking into a corporate email, which can be done through phishing if the company has very relaxed security measures. The scammers will then wait and watch for weeks until a large invoice comes in. At this point, they can intercept the invoice and mock up one nearly identical to the real invoice, with the bank details changed to those of their own account.
What if you could make a couple extra $1,000 a month using one little app on...
That's the crazy part. If they put this amount of smarts towards actually making legitimate money, they could have made way more than just this look. I ain't gonna lie, 15.2. Actually, yeah, man.
Created fake websites, businesses, phone hotlines, and identities, which all was a part of the scam to convince anyone who may run security checks that the details are legitimate. Once the money hits the account, it is then quickly redistributed to multiple mule accounts, then converted into Bitcoin, or used to invest into physical assets such as gold or silver, which will then launder the money and prevent the bank as well as the account owner from calling back the funds. For example, in 2019, a New York law firm needed to send a payment of over $920,000 to a client who refinanced on a piece of real estate. Before wiring the money, the paralegal emailed to confirm where the money should be sent. Unknown to her, this email was intercepted, and soon she received a fax telling her to send the money to a different account. Naturally, she checked to make sure this information was right by calling the number provided in the fax. Her call was answered, and the man on the other end was able to confirm the confidential details. Convinced, she then sent the money to the new account, which of course didn't belong to her client, but instead to Raymond Abbas. Crimes of this scale cannot be run by an individual. They require a network. You need false bank accounts, which requires money mules, who are oftentimes unwilling participants who are talked into opening new bank accounts through a romance scam. You need fake websites, which requires website coding knowledge. You need to gain access to email accounts, which requires credential stuffing or efficient phishing techniques. You also need to know how you're going to go about laundering the funds and make it appear as legitimately earned revenue. Plus, you need amazing OPSEC to keep you safe. Raymond Abbas had all that and more. He was essentially the Michael Jordan of the scam world, metaphorically dunking over his victim. He had a large number of connections as well across the globe, including a Canadian money launderer named Caleb Alamari. He was usually responsible for transferring the cash into Ray's accounts, and he worked with him on some of his largest scams. Their most high-profile heist was at the expense of the Bank of Valletta in Malta, where communications through Snapchat.
Shaq ain't in my top 3. Shaq, Jordan, and Kobe. That's who these niggas was with the scam and stuff, bro. That nigga Hushpuppi had the scamming going on.
The pair attempted to organize the distribution of 13 million euros. Then, posing as the regulators, they sent phishing emails to the Maltese bank where an employee fell for it, which then granted Ray and Caleb access to the bank's secured payment system, where they were able to send out millions of euros in undetected payments. Ray Hushpuppi's role was to find bank accounts that were able to take deposits of millions of dollars without any blocks, without any holds, and quickly launder it before it's recalled by the bank. Unfortunately for Ray and his associates, they were not able to move the money around in time, and the bank was able to recover most of the missing funds. When the story hit the news, Caleb took a screenshot and sent it to Ray. He simply replied, "Damn." Going about his day unfazed, Ray then posed head to toe in Fendi while leaning up against a $160,000 vehicle with the caption, "Bought myself a new Bentley Bentayga for Valentine's, the best way to celebrate the season of love." In another scam operation, him and another entrepreneur named Juma conned a Qatari businessman out of $1.1 million.
What?
This person hoped to build a new school in Qatar and needed a $15 million loan to fund the project. As this was just a bit more than his bank was willing to lend, he hired a financial advisor who probably Googled $1 million loans and landed on Juma's scam website. Together, Ray and Juma presumed false identities and spent months convincing the businessman that they could arrange the loan for various six-figure fees. Every time their victim became worried about the money not materializing, Ray and Juma would then double down and demand the fees be paid, which will then release the loan. In a final ploy,
using them tactics. What they said in the last video I showed y'all, boy, nigga got scammed. I don't know if I posted on my main or my side channel, but the nigga got scammed out of that money. They using them tactics, I forgot you called them 48 laws of power tactics, like authority.
Vincent Chipuzu to set up a fake Wells Fargo website and an automated hotline. When the businessman rang the phone, he was informed that the $15 million was finally in his account. However, required a $575,000 withholding tax to get the money out of the US. It was at this point that Caleb started petitioning for a larger share, and when Ray shut him down, he went to the client to expose the scam. Naturally, this pissed Ray off, so he messaged a man named Abba Kari, saying that he wanted Caleb to experience the worst beating of his life. But Abba wasn't a thug. In fact, he was a police commissioner. Ray had just requested a beating for hire from a police commissioner. Damn. He then followed up with, "Please, sir, I want to spend money to send this boy to jail. Let him go for a very long time."
Turn your passion for beauty into a career in cosmetology. At Southern Careers Institute,
And of course, with all the corruption in Nigeria and stuff, Abba was more than willing to oblige and replied to Ray with the details to his Nigerian bank account. Once the money arrived in Abba's accounts, Caleb was coincidentally arrested, and Ray was sent the picture of Caleb in his cell. Abba even updated Ray when Caleb's family arrived with a cash bribe to have him freed. They must think this is a normal arrest, which is why they think money can have him removed. Ray then wrote back, "No money can remove him here." Funny thing about Ray is that he hired Caleb to help him, to assist him in the laundering process. But this was something he himself massively overlooked in his own personal life. His pursuit to Instagram fame and the desire to show off his newfound wealth and luxurious lifestyle meant anyone paying attention could get a sneak peek into the life of Hushpuppi. And you can bet your bottom dollar that more than a few of those 2.8 million Instagram followers were FBI agents working to bring him down. Unsurprisingly, the FBI had become suspicious that Ray's source of income wasn't legitimate, but they had no clue who he was until his birthday, where he showed a photograph of the gifted cake that he received from Gucci, which clearly showcased his date of birth. It was with that information alone, FBI agents were able to track him to a visa application, which then led to his true identity and a much clearer look into his personal finances. It quickly became obvious
imagine having a cake be the reason why you in jail for 20 years because of a cake, my nigga, that was gifted to you.
That Ray was a prolific money launderer, and they placed him under surveillance, hoping to gather something concrete to use for his arrest. Unfortunately, the crime that brought him down was also his most successful, the payout from the New York law firm. After the $920,000 hit the Chase bank account in October of 2019, Ray scrambled to split it up, sending $396,000 to a Canadian account. Ray then asked one of his associates to confirm if the payment had arrived, but they were just getting off a plane and had to wait a little bit longer to get better service in order to take a screenshot of the account. Then, just moments later, as he walked into the airport, the FBI were waiting right there and placed him under arrest. It was at this point that Abba should have disappeared, as Ray's associate had just been arrested with a phone that contains damning evidence that ties directly back to rayhushpuppi@gmail.com. But incredibly, Ray and Abba both seemed unconcerned as they continued on about life. Ray posting luxury shopping sprees over on Instagram and driving luxury vehicles through the desert of Dubai. Then on June 8th of 2020, while Ray was asleep in his Versace hotel home, a Dubai SWAT team flooded into his home, placing him under arrest while they seized 47 phones, 21 laptops, $7 million in luxury vehicles, $40 million in cash, and a list of over 2 million email addresses associated with potential victims. The Dubai authorities were so pleased with this takedown, they released this stylized short film of the arrest, titled Operation Fox Hunt 2. Shortly after his arrest, Ray was flown to Chicago, where he stood trial in November of 2022. He pled guilty to his crimes against the Qatari businessman, the Maltese bank, and several others that amounted to over $24 million. Ramon Abbas was convicted of his crimes and sentenced to 35 months in federal prison, as well as he was ordered to pay $1.7 million in restitution. Officials described him as, quote, one of the most prolific money launderers in the world. His doubters were in awe, and his haters celebrated his downfall. The Dubai police won themselves a new wardrobe, and Ray can no longer wear his Gucci and Fendi tracksuits while in prison.
Still got love for you.
Niggas for sure won themselves a new wardrobe. I had to hear pause. I think music was gonna play at the end right there. I had to stop that. Can't have no music playing. But yeah. Subscribe to my boy Jack Alderman. And yeah, on to into the next one, I guess. Skate.